Hi everyone. I decided I'd do a little more research into the speed limits, particularly because of the recent events in Trinidad and Tobago. Please note that I am not affiliated with any third parties mentioned here. I also do not claim to know everything about speed limits, but I would urge that sense prevail where necessary. If there is anything I say that upsets you, please remember that I am only sharing my opinion. I am not the law, and we all have the right to share opinions, but we can be diplomatic about it. Please do not disappoint me, fellow Trinis. I have been disappointed before, but I still live with the hope that we will continue to build and become a great nation. For those of you who don't know, the public was warned by media and social media that on the first Monday in May 2016, this year, at the making of this video, that the police would be enforcing the speed limits on the nation's road. I refer to an article dated April 26, 2016, written by Kim Boudram from the Trinidad Express. If you are interested in verifying the accuracy, I'll probably have post a link below in the comments. And to much of the nation's surprise, myself included, the police did in fact live up to what was being claimed and started using laser speed guns. The price of getting caught is currently 1,000 TT dollars, which is pretty fair on hurting your pocket at this time of the so-called recession that we have. And I saw a really detailed map created by a user on Wikipedia that color-coded which countries had different speed limits. So maybe it will appear magically in the video as I continue. I'll also try to provide this link in the comments below, so please check the comments below, and you know in the process probably you'll get some more statistics and you can do your own research and whatnot. Before I get to the maps, the first thing I want to say is that a speed limit is a limit. Yeah. That might sound obvious, and I am not trying to be condescending, but indeed it's a limit. In other words, reading between the lines of speed limits based on the context that is being used, context of being used as a speed limit, this limit implies being an upper limit. Further to this, regulations teach us that what the limit is before we drive. So to say that we aren't aware of the law will really have to make you wonder if you paid for your license. Oh, excessive law. One of the issues that arose was when the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, according to social media release, which I also saw on social media, stated that one national was charged for driving at 85 kilometers an hour, which has enraged many nationals in Trinidad and Tobago. According to what I've seen on social media, I've seen a lot of people comment on it, and you probably would have seen a lot of people comment as well. The question is asked whether this is excessive law. What's my opinion on this? Well, I've seen many people have the mentality of not observing an upper limit in our country. And this video isn't to attack my fellow men. As I said previously, so based on what I've seen, it is my view that people looked at the limit as an average limit. Some limits tend to be like that, with a plus 10 or a minus 10 value in such a case, for the scientists out there. In that case, at least it could be interpreted as excessive law to charge someone for going over by 5 kilometers an hour. When, as users on social media have put it, very hard to determine does not necessarily make much of a difference in terms of safety. It's very hard to determine in terms of the speed. I mean, can you really tell that that car is actually driving at 5 kilometers more than the speed limit? I mean, the limit is kind of near. And in that case, it seems to be excessive. It depends on your view, of course, which I'd like to know in the comments below. So if you have a comment below, I'd like to really hear what you have to say about it. But of course it goes further, because another point I saw raised is that some speedometers aren't very accurate and could be sometimes showing a value a little bit higher or a little bit lower than the real value. And I mean, it's a test, it might be exact, like it's not like you're testing voltage, perhaps. I'm guessing. Um, and this could perhaps cause people to drive over the 80-kilometer limit when the only thing that they're cutting it around 77. So the speedometer is showing 77. Well, I mean 80 cross 80. You understand. So I mean there might be some inaccuracies in the gauges that are being used. And I think this has also been a part of enraging the public about the 85-kilometer charge, because it was so near, that you have to consider maybe perhaps some variance involved in that. And of course, this hasn't stopped the public from trying to evade the law, which is something I frown upon. And still getting burned. I still get burned. Even though I am a law-abiding citizen, I still get burned by the police. They are unreasonable police officials sometimes, from my experience anyways. And I have the luck of meeting the inspectors who are the most unreasonable out of all of them. But let's not make it about me. Let's make it about those in the public trying to evade the law. So it seems that some have tried the detectors, and some have gone as far as trying to obtain jammers, so these special jammers. I even heard that there are special lights that can block the laser detections, and special number plates you can use that can hide the numbers, the numbers at fast speed, so they actually shake. So when you try to look at it, you can't really get a good picture or whatever. I think it's the VD cameras, which we don't have. But the point is that there are mechanisms out there that can try to evade the law and the justice of the law, etc. Either way, it is alleged, since I have not seen anything remotely official yet, that these devices now carry a whopping $10,000 charge. Well, thank goodness I don't have any sort of device like that in my vehicle, because a $10,000 charge, I can't imagine how much time in jail you'd have to spend to work that back if you don't have enough money to pay that sort of fine. A suggestion is just don't do it. Better to obey than to sacrifice in this case. At least in this case, I will obey and sacrifice than have to pay a $10,000 fine. Or perhaps the rich playboys out there, because we have some rich playboys, and perhaps one day I'll do a Facebook video about some of the rich playboys. But it's pretty dangerous doing local videos about local people in Trinidad that you don't know what to expect. But maybe the playboys could do that and tell us how it goes. Maybe they might pick up some girls in the process. I don't know. Right, good. So let's go to the map results, which is, I think, the most important part here. So the map shows that Brazil, Mexico, and India's speed limit seems to be what I've seen a lot of the drivers consider as their speed limit in Trinidad, which is an average of 120 kilometers per hour. And so these three countries, Brazil, Mexico, and India, they have the speed limit at 120 kilometers per hour. So let's see, when we compare the amount of road fatalities in Trinidad and Tobago versus Brazil, Mexico, and India. These countries were random countries where the speed limit is 120 kilometers, except, of course, for Trinidad and Tobago, because we're comparing them to Trinidad and Tobago at 80 kilometers an hour. All this data is based on 2013 in a 2015 WHO report, which I will try as well to add to the comments so you can actually see that it is not me, it is actually there for value purposes. Let's take Trinidad as our baseline value, which is 14.1 road fatalities per 100,000 persons. When we compare that to India, we see that India is 16.6 per 100,000 persons. Okay, so it's a marginable increase of about 2.5 persons. But this is lives we're talking about here. So the question is whether it should be described as marginable or described as serious. And Mexico, however, is 12.3, which shows a marginable decrease in fatalities compared to Trinidad, even though Mexico's speed is nearly 40 kilometers more in terms of the limit than ours. And of course, Brazil shows a staggering increase of 23.4 road fatalities compared to India. And also, of course, Mexico, which has the same speed limit. So you're comparing the apples for apples, not really apples for apples, but you understand what I'm trying to get at in terms of the speed limit. So this leaves me in a pickle. This leaves me in a pickle. so to speak, because from this small analysis I did, I can't seem to correlate that the speed limits correlate to the road fatalities. But the truth about 80 kilometers versus 120 kilometers an hour is this. I just noticed that there is a drastic difference for me when I drive at 80 kilometers and when I drive at 120 kilometers. At 80 kilometers, I can, brake much faster. And I seem to have an easier time controlling the car. It feels more like a leisurely drive than, opposed to really rushing down the highway, etc. And at 120, clearly, there's at least 40 kilometers more to compensate for when slowing down. And that's nearly 33.3%, which is 1/3 more braking needed to slow down. And I'm not a physics major, of course, but I just, when I try to equate it out, when I try to look at it, this is what I think about, and this is how I experience it. So some argue that 120 is their comfortable speed, and they are probably right. Based on the statistics, I can't say wrong, right, etc., because at this point in time, they are probably right in their opinion about how they drive. I'm saying that I would rather dodge a ball at 80 kilometers an hour than 120 kilometers an hour. And you have to understand where I'm coming from. You might say, oh, that's irrelevant, but I don't think it's irrelevant. So either way, you need to be safe out there on the roads. You need to be careful out there. You need to be vigilant. And first and foremost, you need to drive for the other man who isn't out there looking around. There are some people that just drive and they don't look. And we will make mistakes on the road. And so we need to be safe on the road. We need to be careful. We need to be conscious. So it's better, I think, that you make a mistake at a slower speed than you make a mistake at a higher speed. So for all of you who like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and make sure you like me on Facebook as well, because I'd like to keep in communication with you guys. My links are in the comments below, and your likes help me to determine whether I should post more of these videos or just give up completely. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.